of barley for a shekel at the gate of Samaria. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the privilege of life. We thank you for the privilege of pausing for a moment to reflect on your word. I ask that you may visit with us, each one of us, this morning. For we have asked for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
About a week ago, I spent some 8-9 days speaking with God's people in the city of Kigali, a congregation called Kigali English Church. I particularly enjoyed my stay with them because it was a good break from maybe the usual. And I become totally grateful for another time that I have to spend with you here. I experience you differently from the way I experience the good saints of Kigali. And that makes it even a much more special experience for me. I will walk out of here with my hands full with good experience. And I know that already. I just pray to God that there may not be a moment where any one of us misses a blessing that God intends for us. This morning, I'd like for us to think together from the 6th chapter. Now, the man of God here, Elisha, is one interesting character for me. And he makes me to think about the men of God very carefully, especially when I have to relate with them. The other day, a colleague of mine, Pastor D, says, "Hey, man of God," I say, "No, do not call me man of God." He says, "Why?" I say, have you seen what the many men of God, just deliberately phrased it that way, are known for? He says, "No, you missed the point. There is a difference between a man of God and a man of God." So I said to him, "Okay, let me rest my case." But this man of God called Elisha, he had a bit of a temper. I mean, the other day, it was kids. Kids. Kids were being kids. And he wiped them out, just like caused funerals. And as I was taking issue with him, I was humbled when I had to read from the spirit of prophecy that what he did was necessary. It actually settled the question of honor for the messengers of God once and for all. That lesson was not only learned by the children, the age of those children, but also by their parents. And their parents were quickened to fully appreciate the need to train up their children already to know the difference between the holy and the unholy, the mundane and the profane. But, oh man of God, I wish you says to God, no, bad idea. If you wipe away your people, that won't be good for your name. And God, King James, and it repented God. And he changed his mind. He took the counsel of a mere mortal. I do not understand this kind of a relationship that God allows himself to have with mere mortals such as us. But we have Elisha in the detail of today's consideration. And he had done a few things where he confirmed God's interest on the interest of his people. And after a couple of records of God's intervention, God's confirmation that he has not abandoned his people, that even in the midst of difficulties, he always dispatches an army to provide for the security and for the needs of his people. Even when God allows painful experiences to abound amongst God's people, there is an unseen hand that moves. Even whilst bad times are going on with God's people, there is that unseen hand, and often unseen provision that stands by and makes sure that the line is not crossed, that God's people do not get to experience beyond what they can bear. When in his wisdom he permits for hardships and difficult moments, I want to ask of us to know that even though we may not see nor understand, God is by his people. Amen. In this case, when you take it from verse 24, it says, "And it happened that Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his army, and he went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until a donkey's head was selling for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove dung for 5 pieces of silver." I'm not sure if you heard what the scriptures just told us. First, it tells us about men's inhumanity towards men. How this king decides that he's going to use the method that will inflict much pain and sustained pain before he finishes off his victims. Or he could have thought of using his mighty army to simply march in there and compromise the security of Samaria and just wipe them out. But he decides that he must systematically starve them. So he comes and camps around so that no one goes out and no one comes in. And when no one can go out and no one can come in, it also means that there will be no imports, so to speak. It also means that the people inside the walls of security will not be able to go out and sow and plant in their fields so that they are able to replenish the supplies within the city walls. So they are left to themselves to use up all that is in the city, from their silos and the barns and from their vineyards and everything both in the barns and also in the wine presses where grapes are stored and processed to make grape juice and so on. My brothers and sisters, they needed to use that, knowing that if the man outside does not give up, sooner or later we are going to run out of the supplies from within because we're not able to replenish them. So the people watched as they were gradually moving towards their own death. Yesterday I was looking at a couple of videos taken within the Ethiopian airline before it crashed. As I saw the smoke billowing out of the cockpit, and I watched as the people, you watched it also, I watched as the people, some of them resigned to what they know is about to happen, motionless and paralyzed, whilst others are screaming and crying, and others seem or sound to be praying. I cannot understand the language that is being spoken there, but you see the human desperation. You see the pain, and you wish you could turn things around so that the story doesn't have the tragic ending that it had. And I think for a moment that except in this case it was a bit sustained. The people within the walls that were meant to be for their security realized that this time the walls have become their entrapment, and that gradually they need to face their demise and their death. Record then tells us that after a while they began to sell donkey heads and dove dung. You see what had happened here, and we told of the price of those commodities, and we do not understand how it could have been that these things that were hitherto not food had now become food, and not only food but expensive food. Although I only studied John 3:16, but I'm told that when the demands are high and the supplies are low, the prices go up. It's a simple law of economics. And this is what we had here. In fact, it got to a point where proper food was no longer available at all. And record then says there was a famine. It got so bad that they sold donkey head. If you live here, I can rephrase that. They began to sell donkey smileys. And they were expensive. Yes, it's gone. And dove dung. Of course, this is so out of the way that most of us would want to say it's improbable that this will be literal. So those who study theology and who study the Bible and who study the historical context and so on and so forth, they go to check what this message could have been saying to the people who first heard it, and the first intended recipients of the message. They also check how the people heard it. So they come back to say to us, no, the likelihood is that the phrase that says donkey head could not be meaning the head of a donkey. And that the phrase that says dove's dung could not be referring to the output of doves. It couldn't be, they say. They actually say that the reference to cow dung, no, rather to dove dung, could actually be referring to a certain plant. They would think of 2 or 3 types of plants that it could have been referring to, and some wild seeds from some of those plants, including the ingredients that will be put into what today we call falafel. Beautiful foods. If you were to stop at Jewish restaurants or restaurants that sells Jewish food, I don't think that's the most tasty of their foods, but some people think that's special food, falafel. But the other day I inquired from the saints how one gets to eat dove dung. And the saints said to me, Mfundis, you don't know. I asked them, I don't know what. They said, actually, dove dung is sweet. And I asked a question this morning. How did you find out? What were you doing? How do human beings get to eat dove's dung or to find out whether it's sweet or bitter? When I read further, I must say that this cannot be far-fetched, in my view, to give a literal translation when it comes to the reference of the two foodstuffs that were being sold. How do I come to that conclusion? I come to that conclusion when I read further because it says, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king. And the king says, if Jehovah doesn't help you, how am I going to help you? Will I help you out of the barn floor, or will I help you out of the wine press? The king is upset. And he's irritable, and he doesn't want to hear no more requests because he almost knows where it is going to. And he has reached a point where he knows that he can no longer be resourceful to his people. And he gives that kind of an answer. It sounds a little bit rude to me. But let us indulge him because he's expressing his own helplessness. How he's unable to help himself and how he also is not able to help his people. He actually says, if God doesn't help you, or if God can't help you, where am I going to start? The king and the leader of the nation has come to a point where he believes that God can do nothing about the situation. And if God can't do nothing about the situation, how is it going to be possible for him, a mere mortal, to can help? And maybe even before we get to that point where we should wait to get to, I need to say, King, you can't talk like that about your God. If you hang on a little while longer, you shall hear the words that comes clearly, and they say unto you, Hear, O King, thus saith Jehovah, tomorrow this time, at the gate of Samaria, that which we don't have in the city will be going for a song at the gate. King, hold it right there. Do not say, if God can't help you, there will be no help that will come through. Yes, if God can't help, but it's not like God can't help. In fact, it's not even like God will not help. The question is whether God's people are still waiting with expectation for God's hand to come through and make a difference in their life. So he says, so how do I help you, if I may ask? The Bible then tells us that the woman told the king that you see this woman by me. We agreed yesterday that we're going to boil our babies for the meal. And yesterday we had my baby. Today she was refused. When it's time now for us to have her baby for a meal, she has hidden her baby. Help me, O King, if I may add, because I would love to have her baby for a meal. So send tracers to find the baby so that we can have her baby for a meal. You know I added that part. So if the donkey head and the dove dung is a metaphor, or we misunderstanding it was actually referring to some other forms of food, then we also need to say that this is a metaphor. It didn't happen the way it happened. But there is nothing to suggest otherwise, my brothers and sisters. The ladies had their baby for a meal because of the family. So what I've spent a bit of time to have a look at that. So what about it? The explanation given to us here is that there was a famine. And it got so bad to the point that people began to eat what Leviticus 11 tells us we may not eat, unclean food. If you indulge my interpretation, not sure if I'm interpreting, if I take it literal as it comes, that it was dug down, or let it, maybe I understand a little bit. We have folks from the northwest here. Don't be too quick to say, not too far from where you come from, there is something called homana. When it's still transport, it's a donkey, but when it is becoming food, it's a homana. So it's not too far-fetched for me to conceive the donkey S was actually a donkey S. But the dove down, if the folks say to me, but it's sweet, mfundisi, I still must say that you can only eat stuff like that when you are under the circumstances. Nobody just walks out there and starts eating stuff like that. And it doesn't matter, my brothers and sisters, dove down may be sweet as it wants to be, but it's still dove down. Down is down, it doesn't matter where it came from. In fact, you can expect it to have bacteria, you can also expect it to have fungi. And if you take that stuff into your blood system, it may be sweet in the mouth, but it's going to do harm to the body. And what is the point, my brothers and sisters, of filling our lives with poison just to live another day? What's the point of filling our lives with poison, knowing that this is poison we are ingesting, just so that we can be around for another day? I would rather die clean than die from being finished and destroyed by the poison I ate myself. Fact of the matter this morning, if you ingest poison, be sure that it ain't gonna be the other person that shall die. It is the one that ingests poison. The other day they told me that garbage in. And we may think for a moment that we never get to a point such as these God's people got into. But fact of the matter is that you and I, one day or another, there comes a situation when there is a famine in our land. And I'm not talking about the vast expanse of our land, I'm talking about the famine in our land. In our situation, there is a dearth of righteousness and there is a dearth of a will to be right and to do right. Doing wrong and eating wrong, if you think I'm talking about food. Doing wrong and eating wrong and taking wrong stuff in to become part and parcel of our system has become fashionable and we can justify it. We were under the circumstances. The going was getting too tough for us. So I ask of us this morning, what do you and I do when the going gets very tough, when things don't become too favorable, when there is a famine of a number of people that stand by us when we try to do the right? What do we do when there is not enough people who confirm that what we are doing is right and plausible. What do we do when we have to stand alone and all other ground has become sinking sand? What do we do? What do we do when there is not enough to support our values around us? What do we do when we experience this kind of a famine? Many of us don't only turn to donkey heads and of compromises and other compromises of the quality of dove's dung. There are some of us who so much sink low into compromise to the point that we will have our own babies. The last time I checked, women or mothers were supposed to be protectors of their own children. They were supposed to be willing to die than to have to bury their own babies. But here we have women who aren't only willing to bury babies, they also are willing to bury those babies in their tummies. It doesn't get worse than that, my brothers and sisters. But before we become too quick to judge these women, we need to look at ourselves one more time. What do we do when the going is against us? What do we do when the going is tough and there is a famine of goodness around us? I know we need to get out of here. So permit me just to say, could we please be challenged this morning to hold on to the values that we know should shape us? Amen. May we have a conviction and not just become convinced of the facts. There's a difference between the two. You see, you may be aware of the facts. You may be aware of the points. But those points, when they don't have the power to make you stand, even when situations aren't favorable, then those are the values you hold. But I'm looking for an experience for God's people where the values hold us, where we have a conviction, so that even when we are going through the tough, we can't help it but remain true. Amen. She said, the greatest one of the world. And I know you can finish that. For many of us, when it gets very difficult, we give up. Like the king would say, this type even God can't assist us with. But I would like to say to us this morning, hang on a little bit. If you just stay on your course, though the heavens may fall, if you just hold on a little while longer, could it be that in no time before the sun sets today, and before you give up before the sun sets today, the words could come reverberating out from the throne room? Hear the words of Jehovah. Disparate as the situation is this morning, tomorrow, this time. Many a time God's people have given up and melted up and lost shape just before they make it to the gate. But I have come to say, my brothers and sisters, maybe if God could give us His sustaining grace so that we hold on until we get to the gate experience. For tomorrow, this time, God is going to turn everything around for you. And that tomorrow could be an hour from now, or maybe it could be 7 years from now. But what's the point of getting to the gate empty-handed and be good for nothing? I pray to God, my brothers and sisters, that when the gate experience comes, that you and I may be there, intact. And I need to say to the women, and if you think I'm talking about gender here, you missed it. I'm saying, may I say to the women that we are, let's not eat up the babies now. Let's not sacrifice the babies now. If we hold on a little while long, when we get to the gate, May we get to the gate with our babies intact. And I'm not talking about babies. You know what I'm talking about in your life that you need to cling on to safeguard those values, those convictions. Live by them and be true to them and be the true light that you ought to be until we get to the gate. And I pray to God that when we get to the gate, we may all be intact in God's hand. Even if we get there without our limbs, we're still intact if we get there with our babies. If we get there with that which shapes us. Maybe let us stand and let's pray together.